Hey, my name's Anthony.
My name's Alex.
And we are
The PTA Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the PTA Podcast. We're going to dive straight into this, but before we do, don't forget to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you. We really appreciate the support.
Thank you.
All right, Al. This episode is another personal one, just like the previous one.
Yep.
We're going to talk about trying to be everything and be everywhere at once, right? And what I'm going to talk about in particular is, the balance that people are trying to get, which I feel is impossible, between work, life, family, and health. I'll give you a little bit of a story about me, about where I'm at right now, because we're in two different parts of our lives.
Yep.
And then you can kind of talk about yours as well, and we can just kind of go back and forth.
Yeah, 100%, man.
One of the biggest things that I tell people a lot is try to eliminate the thought pattern of trying to find balance, because you're not, right? I truly believe that you just need to incorporate things, or integrate, I should say, things into your daily life that are important to you.
Yeah.
This is why we talk to clients about the fact that you don't need to train 4 to 5 times a week if it's not realistic for you.
Yep.
This is why I tell people that, restrictive diets aren't the way to go about it. This is why we tell people that we're going to help you develop better habits and change your behavior around nutrition and exercising and health, because they're going to serve you long term. And this is why I always tell people that, if work is busy, get over it. It's always going to be busy. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Make health a priority, though. But we train a lot of parents. And with that comes guilt, especially for some reason when it comes to looking after themselves, whether you're a mother or a father, right? It's not just mum guilt. Dads feel guilty as well, okay? Dads feel guilty, and I'm talking because I'm a dad, when we could be at home, but we're choosing to come to the gym because we could be with the kids, right? And we love spending time with our kids. But at the same time, you just need to constantly remind yourself that 2 to 3 hours or even 4 hours in a week to look after you so that you can be better for them is not selfish.
Yeah.
And it should never be looked at as selfish. What's selfish, okay, is neglecting you because you can't be bothered, and then you neglect the kids because you're still exhausted and can't be bothered. That's selfish.
Yeah, 100%.
It's actually selfless to do something like training at PTA where you're actually working really hard, and at some points it feels like it's fucking punishment, right? To ensure that you can be able to be a better version of you and the example that you either never had from your parents or that you really want to be for your kids because you received it from your parents.
Definitely.
Right? And so as a father and as a role model to my son, watching my son go, Daddy, I want to do exercise, and he just starts squatting with me at home, I've already ingrained it in his mind that this is normal.
Yeah.
Right? You don't go to the gym because you think you're fat and you want to, punish your body because you hate how you look. You don't look at it that way. You look at exercising to uplift you, to build you up. And because it's healthy, because that's how you live a better life, right? Nobody in our family exercises other than you and I, right? Other than you and I, I'm talking about in our immediate family, with our parents and our in-laws and that, just you and I, right? This is why it's so important to be the role models to our kids that unfortunately our parents went to us in relation to health.
Yeah.
Right? It's
we didn't say dad when dad was dad, but when dad was just Arthur. You get what I mean by that? So before he was a dad.
Explain? That made no sense.
So before dad was dad was just Arthur.
So before he was a father. Just say that. Yeah.
So before dad was dad was just Arthur.
Because dad's Arthur to me, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
True. Obviously he was physically active, playing rugby union and squash and everything that he did, and the broken noses and the dislocated knees and whatnot. So there was an element of like exercise, sport, physical activity there, but we didn't actually see it when he became a dad because it dropped off heavily.
Well, when he was married, he was still exercising. When mum gave birth to me, I don't think it became a priority anymore. Why? Because I think he felt the pressure. I'm not going to talk on behalf of my dad, but that's what I believe.
Yeah.
As a father now, I can understand how that pressure builds up like
that. I get that.
Because you hold this little human being in your hands and you go, fuck, he or she's life is dependent on me now.
Yeah.
So you think, I've got to work hard, I've got to make more money because that's my way of being a good parent.
Yeah.
It's actually not. That's one way that you can provide for your family. I get that, we need money. But it's actually not. Because all I remember is, Dad, come, let's play at the park. Dad, come on, let's play at the park. Dad, let's play at the park. Dad, can we play at the park? Dad, get up off the couch, let's play at the park. And so me and you just went and played at the park.
Yeah, harder.
Do you get what I mean?
100%.
Whereas now, I take my son to the park and we do running together.
Yeah.
And he's like, Daddy, I want to go home. I'm like, no, let's keep going. He gets tired before me, right? Which is fun. But what I'm trying to get at with that is when it comes to, how do you balance those things? There's actually no magic way to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry to let you guys down, but there is none.
You just got to do it.
You need to integrate stuff. This is why training before work, I believe, is ultimate. If you're not a morning person, it's just because you don't feel good in the morning. You got to do two things: fix your sleep. So be diligent with getting to bed at a decent time. If you can't fall asleep properly, take supplements so you fall asleep properly and really get yourself ready to sleep. But then get up and just do the workout, and then you'll feel so much better. Because if you're a parent, anything after 3 o'clock,
Not happening.
I don't think, mate, unless you want to train at 7 o'clock at night and then have yourself wired and not get to bed early enough to wake up feeling good. I don't know. It's your call. But I would recommend train in the morning, get it done, so when you're home, you're ready to rumble.
100%.
Right? Because in saying that, and this is something that I always think about, the words you leave your child with when you start your day impacts not just their day, but the rest of their life.
Yep. I've heard
Right?
that.
So when you have parents that are just first thing in the morning, that's what a kid gets used to. Do you know what a kid starts to do to their parent? Block them out. And the parent wonders why they're not listening to them, or why they don't have a relationship with them, or wonder why the kid's always snappy and anxious and angry all the time. Hello? Look at the example.
Yeah.
Right? Kids don't wake up wanting to be cunts to their parents.
No,
Kids learn how to be disconnected from their parents because of the way the parent is.
It's funny, you'll hear a parent say and talk about, oh, kids are sponges. And then they say that and then they go and go, and it's like, but you just said that your kid's a sponge. So why are you doing things?
I'll give you a funny story.
Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly right. It's true. I'll give you a funny story. I was driving last week Wednesday. I had to pick up Arthur from daycare. So last week Monday, I had to pick him up from daycare, drop him home, and then come back here.
Yeah.
Right. So I was in a bit of a rush because I didn't want to keep you by yourself for too long. So I pulled over. I called Jess. I said, Jess, I'm 30 seconds from home. Come out and come grab Arthur because I got to shoot off. So I just kind of pulled over. There was plenty of space on the right-hand side of me. There's parents coming behind me, and I can see them from my rear vision mirror, and they're like going off in a car about me pulling over with my indicator. Anyway, they went around me, and then before they could even talk, I just stuck my finger out the window, and I flipped them off, and I went off, and I forgot Arthur was in the back seat. What does he say 5 seconds later? Fuck off. And I was like, oh.
I love him. I love this kid.
And Jess gets to grab him. She goes, what? I go, I made a mistake. She's like, what happened? I go, I told her what happened. She's like, shh, hopefully he doesn't remember. He hasn't sworn since, which is good. But what I'm trying to get at is it just takes that split second.
Yeah.
Right now, imagine if you're irritated at work because your boss, or you're irritated at work because, something's happened that hasn't gone to plan and you're irritated. And that irritation is kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back for you because of all the build-up of stuff before, which is not unlikely, as an example, with most of the people that is going to listen to this podcast. And somebody who's done nothing to you, who loves you unconditionally, who just wants to see you
Cops and earful.
when they haven't done anything to you because you're in a shit mood.
Yeah.
That's what happens to kids from a lot of parents, bro, who don't prioritize their health
Yeah.
because they're leaving themselves vulnerable to feeling like crap more often.
Well, if you want to get very technical with it, they're constantly in that fight or flight mode all day, every day.
But even more in depth of that, their brain's wired just to think negative crap all the time.
Yeah.
When you complain, you're literally rewiring your brain to just know to just know that.
Yeah.
Right? And then neuroplasticity is a real thing, which is habit formation. If all you see is just negative, all you say is just negative, and then you wonder why your kid's upset all the time, or your kid's got anxiety, or your kid's got depression, or your kid's drinking too much, or your kid's taking drugs. Look, half the time, not every time, but the majority of the time, it's because of this example that parents have set them.
There's a young boy that I know of that is struggling at the moment, and he's got a lot of anxiety and whatnot, lacks confidence and everything like that. And when I was hearing the story, I stopped the person that was telling me, and I was like, it's because of their mum. And they were like, what? I said, because everything that you're telling me, their mum is putting all of this shit onto them. And so they've grown up to become anxious.
Yeah.
To have anxiety, to be scared, to be fearful. It's because of all the shit their mum is putting on them.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Fix the mum,
Yeah.
you fix the kid.
Well, this is, again, going back to what I was saying. Like, the pressures of being a parent is not easy, bro. Right? But at the same time, no one asks you to be a parent. You chose to open up your legs and you chose to start having a family. So that responsibility that you brought onto your own life, okay, take it seriously. Don't sit there and complain about it when you're the one that chose to have these kids.
100%.
These kids are going to be asked to be born, right? So don't make them feel like shit because you are regretting or you're stressed out or you're anxious about whatever it might be. It's not their problem.
Because then I've seen
Don't
examples.
make it their problem.
I've seen examples of, you know, these very unfortunate negative situations, but then these kids coming out and they're beautiful, right?
But that's a rare occurrence.
Jagan, right?
That's
And
a rare occurrence.
I know it is, but I know he won't mind me talking about it. He was one person that has not
His
had an easy
example,
life.
nobody, I don't know anybody else
Right.
that will have that kind of life. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but he did not have an easy life.
No, but he won't mind. He won't mind because he uses his story for the younger generation that he helps,
Okay.
right? So I know he won't mind. And if there's anyone listening to this, listen closely. Very, very good friend of ours. Very, very close friend of
He
mine.
was one of our coaches, Jagged. Everyone knows him.
Right, and his mum died when he was 8 months old. Him and his twin sister, she passed away from cancer, and his dad pretty much was never around after that. Right, so he was raised by his grandparents and his mum's sister. Right, God rest his grandfather's soul. Arthur Summons. Anyone that knows rugby league knows the legend of a man that he is within the NRL world. Right, is the trophy himself, literally.
Yeah.
And his grandmother, she just celebrated her 90th birthday on Saturday. Happy birthday, Nan. They did such an amazing job to ensure that these two kids, Jagan and his sister, grew up to be two of the most beautiful people that I've actually ever met.
Yeah.
Genuine, loving people.
You won't find an awesome
Right?
bloke.
And if you meet him, every single person that has met him, that has found out his story years later, has gone, what the fuck? That happened to you? I would not have even known. And that right there is a perfect example of there might be shit going on, but you still have a choice. And the choice can be either I'm going to raise our grandson and granddaughter, I'm going to raise my niece and nephew to ensure that they are still the best people they can be, regardless of the negative shit that's going on. Or it could have been like a typical story that we all hear of, where a kid grows up in a broken home and they turn out to be a criminal or a drug addict or an alcoholic or whatever.
Or in jail or dead, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, look, again, integration of all these kinds of things is really important. Trying to find that balance, and people strive for balance, but I always tell people it's impossible because you're going to go through seasons. You're going to go through times where you've got to work hard. So training 4 days a week isn't realistic. Maybe training twice a week is, right? And using the other spare time going for a walk is all that can happen. Right? I went through an 8-month stint, Alex, where I didn't train at all. I just walked and used the sauna. Why? Because I was spending every waking hour of my day building a product building on a project, right, that I had to put that time and effort into, or else I was going to lose everything, Alex. Yeah. I was in a position, man, 3.5 years ago, or 3 years ago, where I was like, if I don't fucking do this, we're done. And then it doesn't just affect me. It affects you, it affects mum, it affects dad, it affects my wife, it affects the whole team. Right, and then it affects me. And then where's our clients going to go?
Yeah.
Who are they going to train with? There's a reason why they've been with me for on average, the average client trains with us for 6 years, right? There's a reason why they've been with us for that long. Yeah, because we provide a community and they trust us. So I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to let go of Platinum Training Academy and what it meant to me, but I also didn't want to let my whole team down.
Yeah,
I'm putting food on the table for so many people. And then Jess tells me she's pregnant. And as excited as I was and as happy as I was and as thankful to God as I was and as I am, fuck me, did the pressure just pile on even more within about 5 minutes of contemplating what I just got told.
Yep.
Right? So how people are still fighting this uphill battle of trying to find balance, trying to make a work-life balance. Shut the fuck up, man. You're looking for a way out because work-life balance is impossible, and they're saying, I can't do it, it's too hard for me. It isn't too hard for you. You're not thinking about it with logic. You're not thinking about it with logic. All right? You're thinking about it with emotion. And then you're blaming everything else for the fact you can't get your work-life balance.
100%. And that's
shut up, bro.
And that's literally the story that I just told you about Jake. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. you have a choice, and you can either choose to fall into the trap of emotion and making up excuses, or you can just do what you need to do because you know you need to do it, and it just needs to be done, and that's it.
Well, the best thing I've ever been
It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be straightforward, but you just do
100%.
it.
The best thing I've ever been told is the second you stop blaming and start taking ownership, right, is the second you become a leader.
100%.
And I've always had leadership qualities about myself. Our high school teachers used to tell me. Our dad always used to tell me. So many people that I know have always told me, right? And I thought to myself, if I've got these leadership qualities about myself, how can I use them to help people, right? And it's not by being a hypocrite. It's not by playing the victim. Okay, it's not by blaming my landlord for the next 3 years and then losing out on my entire life's work. It's about finding a way through.
100%.
And it's about finding a way to be able to use this whole fucking story that I have to tell as some kind of motivation for somebody else who may be going through hardship and is considering giving up, to maybe not give up.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
I don't tell this story to gloat. I tell this story to inspire.
100%. Man.
Right? Because if you're staring down a barrel of losing everything and coming bankruptcy, and you've got a wife and a son that you absolutely adore with every fiber in your body, and you know they're going to be directly affected by you losing out, there's a choice you need to make.
Yep.
And I wasn't going to be that dad. I said, Arthur, couldn't do it anymore, Dad. I just gave up. It was too hard. What's that telling him? That if it gets too hard, just give up as well?
Yep.
Don't think so. Not while I'm breathing. No way.
100%. 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And that's why I truly feel like, and you alluded to it before, that choice you have to make. Do you try and shoot for something that you know is almost impossible for you to achieve, but then blame everything else for it? Or do you go, okay, how can we make it work? Let's find a way to make it work that's realistic for me.
That's it.
That's going to allow me to still be the parent or partner that I want to be, still allow me to tick the boxes with my responsibilities, either my business or my work or my employed work, still allow me to look after my health, and still allow me to have enjoyment in my life.
That's it, man.
This is where integration is very important. 100%. Somebody came in last week, last little story before we wind up the episode. Somebody came in last week and said to me, I want to train 5 times a week. And as we started talking, I looked at him and I said, I don't think you need to be training 5 times a week. I'm not going to recommend you train 5 times a week. They were ready to sign. And you know how much 5 times a week package costs, right? I took him down to 2 days a week, which is less than half the amount. And they looked at me and they go, it's funny. You could have made so much more money off me today. I said, but yeah, you wouldn't have been able to achieve anything. So what would that do for you and what would that do for me?
Yeah, 100%.
And I said to them, I said, you would have given up because you can't commit to the 5 days a week you think you can commit to because you're excited right now. I said, let's be real and consistent because in the next 12 months, you're going to still be here, you're going to still be achieving results, and you're going to be ticking the boxes for your health because you're able to stay consistent.
And you're going to feel good.
And I looked at him and I said, thank you for your honesty.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not about trying to over-promise and under-deliver. It's about not under-promising, it's about promising and then over-delivering.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we can be able to
we're realistic with our approach.
But if we can be able to focus people's mindsets on the right things as opposed to the fun, shiny things people always jump to,
100%.
people are going to not focus on the little dopamine hits that you get, which don't last very long, and focus on the things that, although may be boring sometimes, can actually get a result for them and then keep
100,
it.
bro.
This is why integration is so much more important than trying to find this balance between 5 or 6 different things.
You can say that again.
Do you get what I mean? But yeah, look, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for your input, Al.
Thank you very much, people.
Have a good day.
Subscribe, like, and follow.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify and YouTube.